The Carpenter and the Cradle, A History Weaver Adventure, Book 1, by Connie Worden. Read by the author. Chapter 17. June gaped at July as she heard the news. Gone? What do you mean she's gone? She had nowhere to go. Who's going to help her out now? She did get all the way to Beaver Row from wherever it is she came from, all on her own, so she must know what she's doing. I suspect she just doesn't want us to know where she's going next, because she doesn't want us to be able to give anything away. Maybe something happened to make her feel unsafe, or like someone's getting too close to finding out where she is. June pulled herself up cross-legged onto her bed, rested her elbows on her knees, and cupped her chin in her hands, frowning thoughtfully. Yeah, I never really thought about how she made it all the way here from wherever she's from. Wonder where she did come from. Of course, she wasn't about to tell us, the less said the better, and all that. July nodded her agreement at June's wonderings. But they were no closer to knowing anything about Georgie. Not really. And now, had they lost all contact with her forever? I hate to just let her vanish out of our lives without trying to find her, June said regretfully. What if she does need our help again and she can't get in touch with us? I don't know what we can do about it. She's decided to just do that. Vanish, I mean, July said matter-of-factly. Come on, July, you're the one who can come up with ideas and plans. Think of something. Think of some way we can find her. July chewed the inside of her lip like she always did when she was busy thinking. The only thing that occurs to me is to search the shed and see if there's anything Georgie left behind, some kind of clue as to where she may be headed. Not too likely. The other thing we could do is search our memories in the same way. What do you mean? June asked, interested. I mean, we can think back to everything we can remember her saying that might give us a clue as to where she came from, or how she got to Beaver Row, or why she came to Beaver Row of all places. Or think back to anything she may have let slip about any sort of plan she had for where she was going next. Oh, right. I see what you're saying. Okay, that sounds like our only option, really, if we want to figure this out. We could go around the shed tomorrow sometime by daylight, I suppose, right? Yeah, we can start there, July decided. Co called out at the doorway. It was the call he knew would be answered. Their family had their own pattern, recognizable to the entire village, as was each family's distinctive call. And Limo's son would not be turned away. Not by Taku, at any rate. Taku's daughter, Shesa, appeared almost at once. Ko, she announced, a light appearing in her eyes. It's been so long since I've seen you. Shesa, is your father at home? Yes, he is. But where are my manners? Come in, come in. I didn't mean to leave you standing in the doorway. You have news? Yes, Ko answered, and gave her no information. He had news, but for Shesa's father's ears, not for hers, not for a young girl's ears. I'll call my father, she said, and quickly made her way out the doorway. Ko could hear her calling around the back behind their home. Ko, Taku said when he saw who the visitor was. Shesa didn't tell me it was you. She just said I had a visitor with news. I'm glad to see you safely arrived back. What news do you bring? Is it not for the family's ears? Should we walk? Yes, I think we'd better walk while I tell you, Ko said. Once they were safely underway, and out away from the possibility of being overheard, Taku pressed Ko for more information on his news. Maybe you'd better come with me. We have to determine what we'll do with him, Ko jumped in. You'd better tell me what you're talking about if you want me to come with you, Taku warned. I don't get into things without knowing what I'm getting into. How do you think I've gotten to be as old as I have? Not without caution, I'll tell you that. Boldness and impetuosity, that's for the young. If they live through their youth, they learn that caution is better. Ko blew out her breath. I'll try. I don't know quite where to start. I'm not sure how to explain. I still don't understand most of it. Do your best. I'll try. Well, here goes. You know I had left on my mission, and you know what it was. Yes, that much I knew. Well, I accomplished the mission, but before I could get back to our village, I was ambushed. Ambushed? Yes, by a group of men, right at a spot where only a few people knew where I would be. I don't have any fear that most of them betrayed me. There's one I suspect." "Go on. You don't have to tell me who you suspect. I can probably guess." "Well, I was taken captive. I was tied up and taken to a council fire. I don't know exactly where it was because I was knocked out when they carried me there. Anyway, when I woke up, I was bound hand and foot under a tree, and nearby was the council around the fire, deciding what to do with me, no doubt. I knew my life wouldn't be worth much if I couldn't escape then and there." "So, you mean they were—" "Yes, as expected. Who else would have ambushed me?" "Right. And then what happened? How did you get free?" Ko did his best to summarize his adventures quickly, explaining the stranger who had helped him home and finishing with the part where the man had followed him into the forest and was now lying beneath a tree, a short walk from Taku's lodging, still, he hoped, out cold. "What will you do with him now?" Taku asked, grasping the salient point at once. "I'll need your help with him. Do you have any rope handy?" "We'll need to tie him. That's the first thing. I don't want him making his way back to the others. He could lead them here. Then we'll have to decide what to do with him. Leave him to the council, I suppose. Once he's tied up, we'll have to get some others to bring him to the council. My father will have to call a meeting for tonight." June and July included Fern in their plans to search the shed the next day. They had to wait until late afternoon when Fern was finished piano and chores for the day, but at last they were free to leave. As the twins were heading down Eversley Road and passing the Cherry Barn laneway on their bikes, Coral suddenly appeared on hers as well. "Hey, wait up!" she called, waving. The twins exchanged glances, but could hardly pedal right by. Coral was far too close to pretend they hadn't heard or seen her. They gave her slightly strained smiles when she caught up with them. "Are you just going for a bike ride? I was just going to do the same thing. Maybe we could go together." "Actually, we're on our way to Fern's house," June evaded. "Do you mind if I tag along?" The twins exchanged glances again, but Coral didn't appear to notice. "Sure," July answered uncertainly. The glances the twins had given each other communicated, "We can't really get out of this, can we?" June, with her back to Coral, muttered to July in an undertone, "I guess we'll just have to hang around Fern's until we can make an excuse to head home, and then we'll have to try again later, or we'll just have to go on a different day." They headed on their way with Coral lagging in the rear, not knowing where Fern lived. When they reached Fern's place, Fern ran out of the house and hopped on her bike. "Quick, let's get out of here before my mom changes her mind," she hissed to the twins. Then she noticed Coral in the back of the small group and stopped. She looked uncomfortable and visibly seemed to have felt that she'd blundered. "Oh, were you planning to go somewhere else?" Coral asked. There was no answer, and the other three now exchanged glances. "Did I intrude on something?" Coral asked. Her cheeks added some pink to their regular tanned hue. It was very becoming, June noticed idly. When she blushed, she only managed to look hot and embarrassed. Some people had all the luck in being born beautiful. June made the decision for the three of them. "You know, we can probably tell Coral. I don't think it should matter now," she said to Fern and July. The pair reached the spot where Ko had left the man. He was groaning and mumbling to himself, but his eyes were still closed. "What do you think?" Ko asked Taku. "He looks to me like he's very probably one of them. Dressed in the clothing of the commoners, but I think you're right. He has the features of one of them." "I think so too. I should have suspected right from the moment I saw him, but then I didn't have much choice. He found me, and there wasn't much I could do about it. I just had to hope for the best." "Well, if we're going to tie him, let's do it quickly before he wakes up properly," Taku said, rolling the stranger onto his side. He began to match actions to his words. The stranger's eyes opened halfway and met Ko's, while Taku stood behind the man and tied his hands. Ko quickly looked away and moved to the feet to begin wrapping a length of rope tightly around the stranger's ankles. The strange man said nothing and offered no resistance.